let's start with the manager parts, which it sounds like there aren't a lot of for folks who have had this Kundalini awakening, right?
Yeah.
Because those are those performative parts that are very neutral, kind of flat,
right?
Just like getting things done, holding it together, not standing out too much, not drawing negative attention to yourself, right? I used to do this funny thing where I would walk down the street in New York City and I would just like pay attention to how flat everybody is, how everybody walks around like this.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
And when you start to notice that that's the how everybody comports themselves in public in New York City, and you just look at like a crowd of people walking down the street and every single face is it's absurd.
Yeah.
It's truly absurd.
Yeah.
But that managerial mind state, right?
And that's such a good example, because I remember when I first moved to New York City years ago, I would be like, people would walk down the street and I'd be like, and then they'd be like, oh, like, what's that thing I'm supposed to do? And like to manage to manage myself that I'm safe and, not standing out. And didn't always work so well for me because I wasn't so good at it.
Blessing and a curse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's managerial parts, but really what those parts are trying to do is try to suppress who we fear we might be, if we could say, right? Suppress the parts of us that are maybe hold shame, maybe hold vulnerable fears, maybe hold feelings of I'm not good enough, not worthy, not lovable, maybe hold deeply traumatic experiences and memories that sort of still have a life inside of us. And those would be called our exiled parts, right? Literally the parts that we try to wall off, disavow, or my friend Richard Schwartz sometimes calls them basement children. Try to shove them down into the basement.
Yeah.
And he says, this is intense, but we can still hear them screaming through the floorboards.
Oh, yes, we can.
Right. Yeah, we get little hints that those parts are there.
Yep.
And, and the managerial strategy isn't one that lasts, whether it snaps entirely and one has, this Kundalini emergence,
right?
Or whether somebody calls you an idiot on the street,
right?
Or you don't get the raise, or you fall flat on your face in front of a whole bunch of people, blow the presentation or whatever, right? Those parts of you that hold those fears and that pain and that woundingness and conditioning from childhood and everything else are naturally going to intensify and emerge and kind of overwhelm the managerial system, make it to the surface. This is what we call being triggered.
Right.